Hello, we are live.
Welcome to the Bard Book Club.
This month's book was A Midsummer Night's Dream
by William Shakespeare,
Talking.
who was smart.
What a concept.
What an idea. So, believe it or not, we read this.
Crazy,
As a book club, we read the book.
Reading your own book for your book club before the discussion that you're going to have?
Wild.
Who knew?
Wild. Who does that? I don't know. Anyway.
Hello, Austin. I see you are in the comments. What's up?
Hello. Hey.
How's it going?
We got our water turn up on a Friday night.
Woo! Okay. Let's dive right into our discussion.
All right. Let's fucking go.
Yeah. So, first, I was thinking for general thoughts. I thought it's really fun. It's a really fun play. I think it's a good time because, it doesn't take itself too seriously. The play plot has no purpose being there. He's just like, this would be fun if he was just kind of there. They did a play and it was kind of dumb, but and then just fairies messing everything up and being like, what's wrong?
I'd say it's one of the most shallow plays probably ever, which is fine. It's just meant to be funny.
It's a good introduction to Shakespeare if you haven't read much of it, because then you read it and you're like, what's this? And you're just like, it's fun.
Yeah, and it's definitely we talked about how Henry IV Part 1 was hard to read as a book. People are always like, oh, Shakespeare's not meant to be read, and I'm like, it's so different from. It's so different from modern theater that I think you can read it. I think they do read more like a book than most plays, and you can read any play. I don't understand this concept of you can't read a play.
No.
The actors who are in the play read the play. Obviously, you should see Shakespeare too. That's why we watch an adaptation as well.
And that's also why we read it aloud, because then it's it's kind of
And so I definitely think though reading it, because we read it before we do the live read through too. Fun fact, I know our movie read throughs, everyone we say they're unauthorized and unrehearsed. Again, we don't rehearse the Shakespeare, but Bridget and I actually do read it before we start, so that we have some because since it is our
this is what's going on.
It is our book club, when we did Henry IV Part 1, we struggled to read that because it was before the reading, because it's hard to follow that on the page. That's an email. And then this was so easy to follow.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. I was cracking up right off the beginning with the entrance of Aegeus, because his opening line is just full of vexation come I with complaint. And I'm like, I'm going to enter any situation from here.
I'm going to do it. It's a good entrance.
I want that on my tombstone. That's how I entered the afterlife. Full of vexation, I come with complaint.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't meet Beetlejuice in the afterlife, that's how you'll come.
That's how I'm going to feel. No, I really liked it. It was fun. It was probably the funniest one we've done. I know we did 12 minutes, but this one was really funny.
Yeah, I thought it was a good time because because it didn't take itself too seriously and because it's not super deep, you can just enjoy it for having a fun time, and you don't have to be
so stupid
into it and being what's the hidden meaning here, and is he actually dead, and is there actually a ghost? And so you're some fairies are there
and they're fucking shit up, and these straight people are dumb. I was trying to think last night about this, and I was like, how would they do this without the play subplot? Because that subplot exists because they need to have the players in Fairyland.
Yeah.
That Titania can fall in love with Autumn. And the joke of that is the stuff in her eyes, not working in the favor of Puck and Oberon. And so that can't work. And you know what I mean? It was
he needs a background in order to be there.
Yeah, so they should have had some other reason for Bottom to be
there. I mean, I feel if you were gonna do it and you didn't want to, it's a short play, so it doesn't really matter. If you want to cut out,
that feels so tacked on at the end.
It does. So I feel since it is one of the shorter plays, you could do it as it is, or you could cut out that subplot and you could do something else with it.
Or you could just be oh, they chose us to perform our play, and then not show that play because it doesn't.
Yeah. Or he could be going into the woods and be I'm gonna rehearse all my lines. I'm the star, or something they show his play, but just kind of
he could just be walking. He could just be walking in the woods. There didn't even need to be a reason.
I mean, they were all in the woods for no reason. They were here we go.
Just take a nap here. Why not?
Seemed like a good spot on the ground.
But yeah, overall it was good. I gave it like, what did I rate it in my reading journal?
Let me see what I rated it. I've also forgotten.
I gave it a B+. Yeah.
This is the second time I've read it, and
I've never read it before.
I remember I read it in freshman year of high school, which was a good time because like it's a good play to read aloud.
All I knew about it was the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody episode. Do you remember that?
No.
There was a Sweet Life of Zach and Cody episode where they did A Midsummer Night's Dream and Selena Gomez was a guest star.
Oh, I think I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. That was funny. That's all I could keep thinking of.
Yeah. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars.
Austin asked in the comments, do y'all also feel like the play scene is like the one in the other world in Coraline? Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of how they got the idea in Coraline.
Yeah, I think like Coraline, obviously it's like modern fiction, so it's like better paced. And it's not like tacked on at the end. I feel like it happens a lot in Shakespeare. It's like
he's like, oh wait, I forgot to give them an ending. Here we go.
Or like yeah, it didn't serve as much of a purpose as like in Hamlet. That play serves a purpose.
Oh yeah. Which I think it's a lot, like, it makes it a lot better just because then you're like, oh, and he's using this play to do this. And because instead you're like, I'm watching a play within a play. Why?
Mm-hmm.
For no reason. Yeah, that's why.
Cap made a good comment about the forest. You pull that up.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
It's like the poppy field from Wizard of Oz. True.
You know what's crazy that my sister told me about that? About the Wizard of Oz, poppy field is like, okay, you know, like the snow came down on them to wake them up.
Yeah,
it was asbestos. That's what that was. Yeah, that's what they used. That was 1930s Hollywood. They were like, "This looks like snow." So,
perfect.
As a joke, I said to my sister, "Was like, yeah, they weren't actually even supposed to fall asleep in that scene. They were just like, run with it."
I mean, that's like with Spider-Man. With the poster, there's like the picture of him like in the first one against the background of the skyline, and Tom Holland was like, yeah, I mean, like I just fell asleep and they took a picture of me there and that ended up on the poster. I didn't know.
Yeah, Austin and Kat are like, wait, what? Yeah, my sister told me that while we were recording Classic Fault Lines the other day. She was like, oh yeah, well, you know how this. I was like, I did not. But yeah, that makes sense that that actually makes a lot of sense now that I think about that, the forest, because like it's fairyland.
Yeah, so then it's like kind of magical and it kind of makes you drowsy and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah.
You want to do characters?
Yeah. I thought they were pretty fun. Like, I mean, like, I had some issues like Helena. Oh my God. Helena?
Helena.
Yeah.
There's Helena, Hippolyta, Hermia.
There are a lot of H names here. She did not know when to give up. It's like, take a hint.
Yeah, she got my fucking nerves. I was like, shut the fuck up.
She's pretty funny, but like, calm yourself. And like, also, like, we kind of talked about it, but Demetrius.
That he's still drugged in the end?
Yeah, he's still drugged. And they're like, yeah, you know, that's good.
I like, that didn't really occur to me until we watched the movie. And then I was like, oh shit, yeah. Like, I was like,
yeah.
It's never even really explained why he doesn't like Helena. He's just like,
I mean, like, it's a good thing. Like, they all get, like, it's a good in the sense that, like, they all get together in the end. Oh, happy.
You think about it, or like,
yeah, but like, yeah, I mean, like, why doesn't he like Helena? Probably just because she's like annoying him all the time. But like, I have no reason.
Who was your favorite character?
Well, Puck is like a really good character in general.
Yeah,
he's like a fun guy.
He's funny.
And then I liked doing Bottom. I thought that was really fun. He's like, I am the best. Can you give me all of the roles?
I liked everyone in the acting troupe. We're like, oh yeah, the plot of the play was pointless, but like they were funny.
Yeah, no, I think like, that's the point. It's like even though they don't serve a purpose, like since it's a comedy, like they're there for the laughs.
I liked being Titania. Obviously, that's why I wanted to play her. I like playing the bitch. It's just, it's my favorite thing.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
It has like some of the most iconic characters, and
it does.
I mean,
what's also good is that like, I think what's good about the play plot line is that it balances the other one in the sense that like the other one is kind of like taking itself seriously. And in the play, they're just like, we're here to have fun, and we're like,
I just don't think there's a good like merge. You know what I mean? Like the tone shift is so drastic that you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay. Like
it is a bit much, but
it's so
contrast, which is like kind of why he puts all the like comedy plot lines in.
I don't think Puck would have been my favorite until we saw Stanley Tucci play him, and then I was like, this guy.
Good guy, yeah.
It would also, this is one of the Shakespeare plays that would be so, it's not, in my opinion, one of the ones that has queer coding in it. Like, I mean, you could find queer coding in every Shakespeare play because that guy was queer as hell. But like this one's pretty much for the heteros, which is fine. It would be one that would be so easy in modern theater to make it really gay.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting. Like you could have like Lysander and Hermia like are both girls or both guys. And that's why it's different. And then like Helena could like also be someone as the same sex as Demetrius, and so like Demetrius
that could be why he could be like denying that he's bisexual.
Yeah, like everybody ends up like in a queer relationship at the end. Like
that could be it though. Like if you did it like that, you could just be like, yes, and then like Demetrius doesn't want to know that he's like attracted to like another guy, and like
I think you think we should do it. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
When the world opens back up, we're gonna have the gayest production of A Midsummer Night's Dream.
It's not that hard. There's already like a bunch of like fairies. They could just do some magic stuff all over.
I say that as if like when we do the live reads, they aren't already so much gayer because like no one's playing the right gender. And like,
we're just all there like having a good time.
Yeah. So plot themes, or is plot separate from theme in this note?
Oh, I think plot is separate from theme.
Okay.
I liked the plot. Like we kind of already talked about it a bit. But, like the one is like kind of dumb, but it's there, and we had fun with it.
Yeah.
And like, I watched the show. It's on Netflix. It's called Sweet Magnolias. It's about these like 3 ladies in the South, and they're all making a spa, and they have troubles in their lives, and it's just like a wholesome show. And they were like, the son was doing A Midsummer Night's Dream for his school, and he was playing Puck, and he was like super excited about it. He was talking about it, and there's this one moment that I kept coming back to where he's talking about it with like she's not really a stepmom, but like the guy his dad cheated on his mom with, who's now pregnant, and he's still on marrying her.
Yeah.
And
we've all been there, you know.
And like they were trying to she was trying to bond with the kids, and he was the only one that was kind of reciprocating, so it was like a nice relationship. And he was telling her about the play, and she's like, I read the play that you said you're in. And she's like, it's so sad. None of them are with the right people. And I'm like, I just kept thinking about that. I don't know why. Like, that just was like, yeah, you know.
At the beginning, it's sad, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. And he's like, well, then I fix it at the end and stuff. And it's like, I mean, he caused the problems, but yeah, you do fix it in the end.
Yeah. No, I guess it is. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's also a common thing in Shakespeare, like Twelfth Night, everyone's in love with the wrong person.
Yeah.
I do think Twelfth Night is funnier at the end with everyone.
But you're always like, you're a woman?
That's a lot funnier to me in the end in Twelfth Night, like, because I guess, like, also in A Midsummer Night's Dream, everyone just like, they're like, okay, well, like, it's no one questions what the fuck happened, like.
It's easily solved.
Yeah, like, was everyone lusting after Helena for a hot sec in the woods? Yeah. It's like Lysander told Hermia he fucking hated her and thought she was disgusting, and that was like JK, and she was just like, all right. And I'm like, I thought, okay. I was like,
not that deep, okay.
I thought like that would have, you know, hurt.
You would have maybe brought that up again later.
Like, I think we need to discuss this.
Yeah, like maybe like, hey, I feel like even like Hermia would be like, hey, remember when you said you didn't like me and like you wanted to get with Helena? Like, what happened there? Why are you back with me? Like, do you actually like me still? There's a lot of questions that need to be asked there. Like
it's a fun play, but it's also a mess. Like,
yeah.
So,
I mean, like, same. So, like,
yeah. What are some themes? Not a lot of deep themes in this.
Not a lot of deep meanings in this one. Let me see what people online say.
Yeah, I'm literally sitting here like,
what themes would you get? Love. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know.
I mean, like, I guess. And then they said marriage. I mean, comedies, yes.
Austin said, "Don't go to sleep in the woods."
Yeah, that's the theme.
I mean,
experience versus reality.
The woods. Yeah, the woods is a common thing, and like, of like, you know, like, into the woods without delay, but careful not to lose the way into the woods. You know, but like, yeah, that like the woods is another world.
Yeah, and like kind of like if it's real or not and stuff like that.
Like, so like, you know, like I guess if the whole woods thing is treated like a dream, I mean, still then that doesn't explain Demetrius like being in love.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they maybe think it's a dream that they had.
Yeah,
like they all thought they just fell asleep there and then woke up and they're like, wow, that was a dream. And then like they're back and like Demetrius just doesn't question that he's now in love with Helena. I guess.
Yeah, sure. Whatever works, you know, in this day and age.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it definitely uses the wood thing. Like, its use of fairies is not my favorite because, like, fairy folklore is, like, dark and creepy.
It's so interesting, and he didn't really do much with it.
He made it really surface level, which I don't get because when he does witches and stuff in other plays, like, especially Macbeth, like, it's so interesting and dark. Like, the three witches in Macbeth, the three weird sisters, is, like, so interesting. Like, it ties into Greek mythology with the fates and, like, all different stuff. And then this is, like, I want to say right now, fairy fruit would have been the easiest fucking way to, like, have this going on instead of just putting fucking flowers in people's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. They kind of did a thing where it was kind of like the Hades Persephone myth, where it's like, eat this pomegranate. And like,
there's just so many things that could have been done if they're in fairyland that it didn't happen. And so
he really went this random thing that no one else.
That was probably my one thing, is the theme is that fairy folklore comes with all these interesting dark themes that have to do with sex and lust and love and marriage and promises and shit, and like none of that's used. And I guess like you can be like, oh, because like this is a light play, but like there's still like dark shit in his light plays and light stuff in his dark plays. So, I don't know. It's like I said, it's a really funny play, but it's an incredibly like choppy and inconsistent play. Like if we were gonna like rank his plays that we've read so far based on like their merit of like literary value, there's no way in fucking hell I'd be putting Midsummer up high.
No.
Like, honest to God, I'd be putting like Julius Caesar first, and like then Hamlet, and then 12th Night, and then Henry IV Part 1, and like literally I would put this last. It's funny because it was I think our most fun reading of a play yet. But
I mean, that's not hard to do considering we said the play was funny already. Yeah,
like it's funny. We also had our biggest cast we'd ever had yet, which was exciting. And it's pretty like it's one of the plays that's like fully ensemble. There's no lead.
Yeah, they're all just kind of there,
which is rare. Because even in like 12th Night, which is somewhat ensemble, Viola is still the lead.
Yeah,
there's no like lead in this. Like there's the parts that are bigger than others somewhat, but not even really. Because like Titania and Oberon. Like the only like lead is like Puck because he's there prominently.
All of them, because he's in all of the different.
And I will say, to me, Puck still pales in comparison to the Fool from 12th Night. So I really fucking love him from 12th, especially in the movie.
Good.
Like,
the Fool is good.
Kat said the fairies feel like the fairies in Maleficent, and that is so accurate.
That is accurate.
Like, everyone's nice. There's, like, nothing sinister is happening. Yeah. This person never read Shakespeare never read a Holly Black book. We can tell. Like,
also, just, like, we're not there yet, but in the movie...
We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm ready to talk about the movie, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Fun dialogue. I mean, I already said what I really like is the full of vexation. I come with complaint.
Oh yeah, I love that line. I've thought about that line multiple times.
I'm gonna change my Instagram bio to say that. I'm serious. Because we all know I like to be a smartass with my social media bios. I think about like there's the famous Shakespeare lines that are quoted out of context. Because if you say them in context, they're not all beautiful and meaningful.
They said a Shakespeare line in Umbrella Academy, I gotta say.
Which one?
12th Night, they use the greatness.
Oh, Some are born great.
Born great, some are
Some are
yeah.
cast upon them.
And he was like, I taught Shakespeare, and I was like, man, then like, that's taken out of context.
But the thing is, within context, that's still like it's like it's a joke in context because they're fucking around, but it still is actually great writing.
Yeah.
It's like the one that's like Caesar that is like a coward dies many times before his death, the valiant taste of death but once, but that's just Caesar being a dick.
Yeah.
So most Shakespeare stuff, I think, that's like quoted out, like it still matches. Like from this is the course of true love never did run smooth. Like quoting that does match up. But there's also it's the like, hold on, I don't want to misquote it because like it's so baller. Is which is the part I'm thinking of? I'll find it, but I should have highlighted it. I'm not professional. But the one that's really famous that's quoted out of context, and it sounds so cool and like inspirational for women out of context, and it's fucking not in context, is though she be but little, she is fierce.
Oh, yeah.
That's on notebooks and shit. And like I've seen it around, and I like knew it was from Midsummer, and I knew it wasn't like as empowering as that makes it look. Yeah. But I definitely like had a notebook at some time that said that because it sounds like so cool. And then you watch it, like a bitch cat fight. And she's literally talking about Hermia being short, which was seen as like not appealing back in the day. Yeah. And so it's literally like a fucking shady insult. But the context is like, oh my God, women are powerful creatures. And like,
yeah, there's also the love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is when Cupid painted blind.
That's a good one.
I think I've seen that one around.
Yeah, like this is honestly though weirdly one of the plays where when they quote it, it is still as good in context for so many of them.
I mean, I feel like because kind of what we said is that it's not that deep. So like the quotes, you can just be like, yeah, and that checks out. Like you don't have to put it in context to understand it.
I think Demetrius really has good ways of being savage. Like, tempt not too much the hatred of my spirit, for I am sick when I do look on thee. Like, Helena, just
get a hint. Take a hint.
Call it a night, girl. Like, it's done. You're done.
Yeah. Like, there's probably like she was stuck on these two men. Fine, there's many more men.
There's so many men in the world, and they're all a disappointment. So like, don't
don't get stuck on this one.
And then, and I'm trying like, hold on, I'm trying to get to the last page. Because it also like Shakespeare plays usually have pretty good like mic drop parts, but like,
I mean, the end of this one was good.
Yeah. And so,
I feel like that speech is also used a lot.
Yeah. If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended. That you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear. And this weak and idle theme, no more yielding but a dream. Gentles, do not reprehend. If you pardon, we will mend. And as I am an honest puck, if we have unearned luck, now to scrape the serpent's tongue, will we make amends ere long. Else the puck a liar call. So good night unto you all. Give me your hands, if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends. And like, there's versions of that. And like, I don't know the order.
That's one of the more famous monologues from Shakespeare.
I don't know the order his stuff was published in. But like, amends is a word that's used a lot in his plays, and it's interesting because this is pretty much one of the only plays I would say. Like, it's interesting because amends is used a lot in his comedies and his tragedies, and in his comedies, it's used at the end to show that shit did work out. But in the tragedies, it tends to be
at the beginning, like you need to make amends and like threatening.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet, Arturo will strive to make. Oh, hold on, where did I put my phone? I don't want to like misquote that. But I was thinking about that how when I was reading it the first time through, I was like, oh, this last line sounds so similar to the beginning of Romeo and Juliet, but like very different.
Yeah, because it's like I mean, you can tell he's the same person who wrote both of them because, like, then he has a writing style.
Behind the scenes, writing the plays. Wasn't a bunch of corgis in a trench coat.
While you find that, Austin said, I love being a disappointment. That way people stay away from me.
Oh my God.
Honestly, social distancing, you know? There you go.
Yeah, so in the end of Romeo and Juliet's monologue, which is the beginning of the play instead of the end, the which if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend. So like, and with patient ears, and the other one's like, give us your hand. And it's just interesting that
the contrast between the two, yeah.
Yeah, well, and I don't know if that's one of the words he invented. The other night when Michelle and Austin and I were on Google,
so many.
He invented like 1,400 words.
Like, I'll make a new word today.
Yeah, just like the word bedroom. That's the one I always like to reference. Like we're both in our bedrooms, and he coined that word. But
what was it called before? Just like your living chamber or something?
It was just your chambers, yeah. Because like, okay, if you were poor, this is a fun history fact. Is Shakespeare, by calling it the bedroom, actually started to normalize the idea of like
having more than one room or something?
Of like people sleeping in the same bed, because that was seen as a class thing. Because the kings and queens, they didn't like share a room. There wasn't like they had their chambers, the queen's chambers and the king's chambers.
Yeah.
And they only pretty much like spent the night together if they were gonna have sex. And most kings and queens were not madly in love with each other and having sex on the regular. And so there was just the queen's chambers, and there was like the sitting room, and then her private chamber, which is where her bed was, and the same for the king. And so, like, if you had to share a bed with your spouse, that was because you were poor and you both couldn't afford your own bedrooms. And then if you were really poor, the whole family like shared a bed together. Like
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I mean, really though. So no, it literally wasn't until like the end of the aristocracy around World War II that it became super normal for everyone of every class to have couples sharing a bed and sharing one bedroom. Because even like in the 1900s, rich people still weren't doing that. Like a wife would get married and she'd still have like her own chambers, and that was just seen as how it was. I find that really interesting because people act like it's like there's that joke modern day, like in Mean Girls, when she's like her parents totally don't sleep in the same bed anymore. You know what I mean? But like actually
saying that like they're growing apart.
Yeah, where it's actually ridiculous and it's like pretty normal. But yeah, so Shakespeare, I forget what play he used bedroom in first. And it's such a simple thing, but no one said that. Like the idea of there being a room that was dedicated solely to your bed was seen as like a poor people thing, because they were like, oh yeah, but poor people just have like one room for everyone to sleep in. They don't have chambers. And Shakespeare was like, I'm poor, I'm going to equalize us. We all have bedrooms.
I mean, it makes sense. There's a bed in a room. Like,
I know. Wow. Big brain thinking. This guy.
Like he's smart.
He invented so many words. I was going through like a list of them. I'll link some of them on our Twitter. I'll start posting words he invented because it's crazy.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
It's crazy how many words this guy made up.
Yeah.
Austin, would you just look at his comment?
Words is probably half a chapter and again, but better.
That is a wordy book, so that's accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fun history facts with Molly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel it's interesting because, like, you can't really create words. Like, you can create words now, but, like, they're not really going to catch on. And he was just, like, going to create a whole bunch of new words, and, like, everyone's going to understand. They'll just get it.
There was a scene in that show. I only watched the first episode of it. It was, like, a CW show. That's why. And it was called Will, and it was about him. Jamie Campbell Bower was in it as, like, the rival playwright, whose name I don't remember, that Shakespeare was totally in love with. And it's going to bother me now that I've forgotten that name. But, like, when Shakespeare...
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, so Shakespeare's, like, writing out the play. And I forget what word it is, because I watched this years ago. And one of the actors is like, such and such is made... That word's made up. And he goes, all words are made up. And then he just, like, keeps writing. And you're like,
I mean, it's like that quote from New Girl where he's like, I'm not sure I actually know how to read, or if I've just
memorized a bunch of words. Shakespeare, he just memorized a bunch of words.
He memorized a bunch of words, and then, like, if he didn't have one, he'd just make it up.
Hold on, I want to look up the list of other dialogue, because there is so much dialogue in it that, and I keep telling myself to highlight this shit when I read it, and then I don't because I'm a failure. Yeah, the top one that comes up is though she be but little, she is fierce, and it's like, that one's not the compliment.
Yeah. I'll follow thee and make a heaven of hell to die upon the hand I love so well. That kind of reminded me of
That's a good one.
Oh my god, really, okay, I'm going to describe it. It's going to sound really dumb as I'm describing it, but like, you're going to know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's a really big book, and the guy, it's like the Bible, but like more. He like lengthened the Bible, and then he made like, huh?
It is the Bible, but
No, it's like the creation story and like Lucifer falling, and
is this a book that we've read?
no, like not for the like. This is just like a book. Okay,
It's a book. I'm thinking
Milton, Paradise Lost.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds me of the quote where it's like, "I'll make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven," like that quote.
A Bible book.
Am I wrong?
I mean, not to just be in that Taylor Swift folklore mindset, but in the song Invisible Screen, she says the journey was hell, but it brought me heaven. Like,
there we go. I mean, like everyone's inspired in Shakespeare.
She's also smart. She's also the Shakespeare of our time, and I'm not even being hyperbolic when I say that. I believe it. And yet to say the truth, reason and love keep little company together nowadays. Like that's what Bottom says to Titania, and that's also lovers and madmen have such seething brains. This one again, like this one is kind of my soul is in the sky is like a joke from when but it's again like it's still really good. And then
Love stories written in love's richest books to fan the moonbeams from his sleeping eyes.
The lunatic, the lover, and the poet are of imagination all compact. I know, like this one just sounds beautiful. I know a bank where the wild thyme blows, where oxlips and noddling violet grows, quite over canopied with luscious woodbine, with sweet musk roses, and with agalantine. Like, it's just one of the, even though, like, again, it's weird because it's, like, one of the, like, shallowest plays, but it's also got some of the most beautiful, like, flowery language of the plays. And because it's, like, the only one that's really quoted out of context is though she be but little, she is fierce. Whereas other I feel like every Shakespeare play, the only one I've ever really heard where you can quote it and it's not out of context is Romeo and Juliet, because that's the most melodramatic thing ever written.
And everyone knows it.
Which is why I stand it.
So we're together, like to a double cherry, seeming parted, but yet in union in partition, two lovely berries molded on one stem. That's like when they're saying that they're the same, they're very similar with Helena and Hermia.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Solid. All right, so you want to talk about the movie? Because I want to talk about the movie.
That was a time. Yeah, let's go.
We watched the 1999 adaptation with Stanley.
Was it 99 or was it 96?
No, it was 99.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a bunch in the 90s. This was like one. 1999 with Stanley Tucci, Michelle Pfeiffer. They were the two really big people on it. Stanley
Tucci had bikes. That was a really big thing.
I lost it with that. When it started and it was like, first of all, it's set in like Edwardian Athens, which makes no sense. Like, I'll never understand.
Oh, no.
Like, not set it, like, either set it really far in the future and like, or set it out of time, but to be like, it's also in another old time. But like, this literally isn't how laws or rules or marriage worked. Like, the fact that like, he tells a duke he's going to kill his daughter if she doesn't marry who she wants. Yeah, in ancient Athens that would work, but not in 1900s Athens. Yeah. That's not how that worked at all. And then the fact that they like felt the need to tell us the newfangled contraption of the bicycle had been invented by a text screen at the beginning. I was like, what? And then it was the fact that
that was like an important thing. They needed to tell us this.
They couldn't
understand.
Like, they
could have saw a bike, we would have been like, what is that doing there? Like, that doesn't belong there.
That doesn't belong in this at all. So then every time they wrote in, I was like, they're on bikes, everybody.
And then there's like that scene where Puck is like, what is a bike? And he's like poking it and stuff.
And he's on the bike constantly. Mm-hmm. So like the set designs, David, who's in our theater group, and they also have a podcast called Thank You Five, all about theater. That's really good, and you guys should listen to. They were at our movie night, and they described it perfectly. They said the set and the costumes of this movie would look so impressive if you were at like a college production of this, but for a major studio, not so much.
Yeah.
Everyone looked like when I was growing up with my siblings, because we were all theater kids, we had a dress-up trunk. So we could play dress up, because when you have a bunch of siblings and you're all theater kids, that's how it goes. And like we make little movies and skits and stuff. And we would just collect over the years, like any of my mom's old clothes, any Halloween costumes, dance costumes, dress up trunk. And there was plenty of fairy wings and sparkly dance costumes and shit in the dress up trunk. And it really just looked like Michelle Pfeiffer and everyone in Fairyland rated my dress up trunk from childhood.
When you have $11 million estimated.
Did you just look it up?
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull
6 zeros, right? 11 million, yeah.
I'm gonna pull up a picture for the folks at home.
Because when you have $11 million, you kind of expect it to be a little better costume design than that.
Just oh my god, I gotta.
I'm not saying you have to do much more, but like they just looked so flimsy, and like they were interesting. I'll give them that. They had some different varieties and stuff, but
I'm trying to pull up a picture of the fair. The fairies is what really got me.
Yeah, but like they just looked really flimsy. Like you could never imagine them using their wings and everything.
So like everybody here was Bottom and Titania.
Oh, also the fact that he didn't get transformed into a full donkey head.
That bothered me so much.
No, like that's the whole humor of it, is that he was a full donkey.
It's not funny if he's not it wasn't funny. It was just stupid. Because if he's not a full ass's head, it's just not as funny. He just looks stupid. Yeah. Like
it's just like, oh, well, you have fur on. Like, are you cats? 2019. Like, like that's what the costume design looks like. There, they need to.
And at least Cats is like we all know. I liked that movie. I described in a TikTok the other day. I finally figured out the best way to describe the Cats movie. I don't think it's a bad movie, and I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's like got that weird cult classic energy. I described Cats, the movie, having the energy of a Disney Channel musical meets Robot Chicken. Did you ever watch Robot Chicken? Like it's on late night, yeah, and it's just like really weird.
Yeah,
it has the energy of a Disney Channel musical, and meets Robot Chicken, and that's how this Midsummer felt.
Yeah, I just was like
the Disney Channel version of Shakespeare.
Like, it seemed like that. I just don't know why. Like the whole why it was funny is that he was a donkey, and it was like, oh, well, she's falling in love with the animal. But like with that, it's like he's obviously a human. He just has something wrong with him.
And he looks just as weird as some of those fairies. So like,
yeah, especially like considering like their variety of fairies. Like,
I just want to say one thing. We all commented on this when we were watching, because it was me, you, David, and Katie at movie night. That consent doesn't exist in this play. Now, obviously, in Shakespeare plays, there's a lot of rape in them, and usually, I mean, it's almost always like not okay. And like in comedies, like the way it's written is like in this, you could choose for Titania to come across as a sexual predator, and you can also choose for her not to.
Yeah, because he's also like very beautiful. Like he would be in love with her otherwise.
So like when we read it, and the line "desire not from this wood to go," not to like just hype us up with our performance. I mean, we were pretty good. It didn't even occur to me to read that in a creepy way.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, desire not from this wood to go. And she did it and like instead was like aggressive
and she was like
and then used like magical vines to tie him up and drag her to her bed. And I remember all of us were like, whoa, okay, this took a turn. And it was just like that constantly. Oh, you know what was another weird thing going along with the bikes? The fucking gramophone that they kept that in there.
Because they were like hosting it in kind of a modern setting, they brought in all the modern props, and they were like, well, the fairies wouldn't know how to use them.
Here's what wasn't made clear either, is I guess like because it was the new moon, we were led to believe that Fairyland doesn't always show up in this woods. And so it was just like this extravagant night where the realms of like the veil between Fairyland and the mortal world were blurred, which like if you can do that in a movie, make that clearer, because that wasn't clearer to us till the end when Bottom woke up and like none of it was there.
Yeah, it really seemed like it was there and you were just like there. Like
you yes to this entire fucking kingdom.
Yeah, especially because they just walked in and it was like the buildings were there and stuff. Like what could have been cool is if like they walked in and it was just like a regular forest with no like nothing. And then like if the building started to appear, like if there was like a fog and then like the building appeared and you're like, oh, what's going on there?
Beyond obvious that everything in the forest was filmed on a soundstage set.
Yeah.
Again, if this had been a college, like when they were like going around chasing each other, it was obvious it was a blatant circle. I was like, this is the same spot. Speaking of the forest, the mud fight.
That was the worst part of the movie.
I hated that.
Like -5 out of 10.
Did a man direct this? Let me look, because that's a big.
I have the page pulled up.
Was it a man?
Yeah, it's Michael Hoffman.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No woman would be like, and then they fight and they fall in a thing of mud. Like, that's so.
I don't even know why that would be attractive because it's mud.
I don't know. Men are stupid. They think
like it's so gross.
No, I was grossed out.
They all have mud on them for the rest of the film, and I'm like, this was a bad decision.
Does it say in the play that they wake up naked the next day? I don't think it did.
It doesn't give any stage direction, so it's just like, oh, they wake up.
Yeah, but the movie was like they all wake up naked, and then their parents find them like that. Ew! I hated that. I hated that so much.
Why did they wake up on the edge of the wood when they fell asleep in the middle?
And why did they have to be naked? Why were their flowers perfectly? Did the fairies do all of that?
Like, did the fairies move them? But like, they did a lot. Considering.
Fuck, is that what we're like on the edge of the woods? Is that what we're led to believe? Were those woods even there? That's a question. The woods in general, because when Bottom wakes
up in the field.
Yeah, so maybe there were never woods. Maybe that's the thing. They were like, oh, we were going to run into the woods. And everyone's like, what fucking woods? We're in Athens. There aren't woods here. We're in the middle of nowhere.
And they're like, oh, look at those magical woods.
They're like, that's weird. They got here last week. So, yeah. There was,
we made some decisions there. I was not.
Stanley Tucci was everything.
And Sam Rockwell, with the minimal lines he had.
Except for that, oh yeah, Sam Rockwell was giving the performance of a life.
Oh my heart.
90% was just his face, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, he had like very few lines, but he was like.
At the end when he like ripped off his wig, and it was like, I'm gonna show you what acting is.
He's a good actor, but that was not necessary.
I think Michelle Pfeiffer is not a good actress and plays the same character every single time, and that character is herself, but slightly meaner. As annoying as Helena, the character, is, I thought that actress was really good.
Oh yeah,
as annoying of a person, as a human being, that I think Christian Bale is, I thought he was really good.
Yeah.
No, I thought the main four were good. The only thing I didn't like about Stanley Tucci's performance was that disgusting little man bun he had on the back of his
head. Right? Chop it off.
I hated that so much. Not making up for him being balding at an early age, okay?
No.
Tucci is so beautiful, and I love him so much, and he was so hot in this.
Who?
It's Stanley Tucci. And I would date him now at any age, completely bald. I don't care. He could dress up as Caesar Flickerman, and I'd still think he was a beautiful man. Is like they made him and Oberon have a lot of undertones.
Yeah, they're like hands and like they.
I was here. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I'm also just every time I think of this movie now, I just keep thinking of the shot of Stanley Tucci as Puck, like excitedly riding away on a bike for the first time. Because again, they were like bicycles. Like
he really pushed that agenda of bikes.
I want to like somehow make a T-shirt that like I don't know has like the book cover of A Midsummer Night's Dream on it or something, and it just says like bicycle. Or you know what? It's just a picture of a bike, and it says A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Or alternatively, have the words A Midsummer Night's Dream like forming the shape of a bike.
Oh, that's good. We're gonna have to make some T-shirts.
And then like if you want to like fill up the bike, you could like have like their names or like lines.
I like it. I'm gonna work on some T-shirt designs. Michelle said maybe the moral of the story is the forest we hallucinated along the way.
I mean, it seems so, honestly.
Yeah, now
you know what could have also been it is that they were on the edge of the forest when they woke up, and like that was before Bottom woke up. So maybe the forest like it creeps up and then it just retreats.
It's like Grave Encounters, like it moves around you. That's why they creep out.
It's a moving wood, so like because they were on the edge, so it was still there. But then with Bottom, it was just gone. So like
it's like in the tall grass. Like once you cross that threshold, you're in a whole other world. Like yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, to be real though, like the whole plot of this is date rape drugs.
This is what Simon said. That's how smart Shakespeare was. He invented bikes in the future.
He did. He really did.
Yeah.
He was on top of it. But yeah, Midsummer Night's Dream is about like the joke is date rape drugs like roofies because you're and the fact that
drugs can fix our problems. Wait, never mind.
And Demetrius is still drugged by the end of the play. That is never forget. Never. You know what else I hated? It was the whole end of the movie when the fairies were flying around everybody's rooms.
I didn't like the fairies flying around.
I know, and then everybody's like, "Oh, they're here," and I'm like, "Ew, what the fuck?"
They're there, and then like the one couple that had like they didn't go into the woods; they were just like out there. They were still there. And they were like,
again, like when they go find them naked in the woods, and the Duke is like deciding if they should get married or not. I'm like, this is why this doesn't work in an Edwardian time period, because at no point in the 1900s would you go get the Duke to run out through the fields with you, to find your kids having sex in the woods, to tell you if you're allowed to kill them over it or not. Like, the Duke would be like, I have fucking politics to do.
I got other things going on, man, yeah.
Yeah, so, it was wild. It was a wild ride.
I mean, like, I think it was better than, anything's better than My Own Private Idaho.
Oh my God, yeah, that was just, so speaking of Henry IV, we want to talk about what we're doing next month?
Yeah.
Okay, so next month, I don't have the book yet, but we're reading Henry IV Part 2, another history, because if you haven't noticed by now, it goes history, drama, comedy. So we'll leave you to guess what's coming in October. I
wonder what we could be doing in October.
So yeah, it's Henry IV Part 2. Our live read through will be on the 14th of August at 9 p.m. Is that and the movie night is the 21st, and we're watching. Hold on, I have the paper. Yes. We are watching Chimes at Midnight because, again, believe it or not, there's not a plethora of Henry IV content out there.
Shockingly.
And then our discussion like this will be on the 28th. And so, if you have any comments or questions,
questions, thoughts, opinions,
at @bard_book on Instagram and Twitter. I'll start tweeting out words that Shakespeare invented.
We could do like one a day or something.
Yeah, like I mean, we'll never run out. Like,
yeah, there's so many.
Yeah, well, literally for the next 3 years, the book club goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is it for this week. I'm tired. For this month. Bard Book Club. It was a wild ride. Thanks to everyone who has participated, who watched.
Yeah.
Let me hold up my book.
Thanks for participating. If you want to talk with us about it, don't be afraid to tweet at us.
And don't forget, Shakespeare
was smart.
Bye.
Bye.